Hi, so this project is called Surface Design, in which you're going to take, it could be a shoe, a backpack, something that has a plain surface, and you're going to be adding a pattern. And you're also going to be changing the color. So in this one, the original shoe just looked like this. It was just a plain old greenish blue shoe. And I have a layer that has like these peacock feathers, and then I have another layer, actually two layers, in which I added some color to the shoe laces. So you're going to have some choices to make. First of all, what is your subject going to be? And then also what kind of patterns and colors are you going to modify for your design? So what I set up for you guys to practice this in Google Classroom are a couple of images that I'm going to ask you to download and practice with to start. So just to review, to download, you're going to open it up. Then you go to the three buttons on the top right where it says More Actions, and you're going to open it in a new window, and then you should see the button for download. They're going to be downloaded in your downloads folder, so at some point you want to get them over to your Google Drive, and then you want to open them up in Photopia. So now I'm in Photopia, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the three images that are available in Classroom. So I randomly picked, I wanted to do one backpack and I wanted you to have one shoe. So this backpack is sort of like a khaki-ish green. The sneaker is red, and then this pattern has a bunch of different colors to it. You don't necessarily, I don't expect you to use these for your design, but these are just to practice. So to start off with this shoe right here. First thing you're going to do is you're going to think about where you want the pattern to go. So if you notice here, you'll see that there's this big piece of canvas right in the center, right at us. And then there's another piece of canvas that is used for the tongue. Now, I don't know this particular brand of shoe, so I don't know if there's maybe it's made out of two pieces of canvas. But the point is, wherever you decide to put your pattern, you want to put it on an entire piece of canvas or material or whatever the shoe is or the backpack's made out of. So in this case, what that means is I'm going to put the pattern along this whole big piece. So we want to make a piece of this pattern the same size and shape as this piece right here. And you can see we're going to be having to remove some area, for example, where the logo is, but then also where these grommets are. You're not going to have the pattern extend on top of these grommets, here and here, the metal pieces, nor am I going to have them on top of the laces, nor am I going to have them on a different piece of material, like where the tongue is. Okay, so you're going to bring this picture over to this picture as by way of a layer. So to do that, you're going to use the Move tool, and you are going to drag this image up on top of the image that you want it, where you want it to be, and then you drop it. And you notice that it's represented as another background. I hit Transform Controls so I can make this a size that I can work with. Okay. If you don't want to mess with the proportion, depending on the pattern that you have, if you want it to be in the same proportion, to hold that proportion, you're going to hit right in here, that button, and it keeps the aspect ratio. Okay. Now, if you want to keep that aspect ratio every time you're changing the size, hold down the Shift button as you're changing the size. So what I'm doing is I'm orienting this so it's in the right place, and I'm making it the proper size. You don't want it to be too small so it won't cover that area, but I don't want this to be too big where the elements of the pattern, you don't see a lot of the elements of pattern, they're too big. So you can make some choices there. Okay. Now, there's a new technique, a new tool that we're going to be using, and it's called the mask. And the mask is like a screen. I spoke of this in class. So basically if you add a mask to a layer, what you can do is you can remove the visibility of that whatever's in that pattern, in that layer, and then you can also put back that visibility. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. So to make a mask on a particular layer, you're going to go down to the bottom where the layers, where all these options are down here, and you're going to click on this one right here in the middle, and it says Add Raster Mask. Make sure that the background or the image that you want to make a mask for is the one that is highlighted. So you can see here when I clicked on it, it gave me this rectangle. This is the mask, and you can see that it's linked to this layer. Okay, so if I click on this background and make sure that it's highlighted, just like that, make sure that mask is highlighted, and I'm going to go to the brush, and it works like this. If I brush black on this mask, it's going to remove the visibility of the pattern. If I paint white on it, it's going to bring it back. So to demonstrate, I'm going to make sure that my brush is big. I hit the brackets next to the P, make a nice big mask, big brush. I'm also going to double check my brush. I want to use a harder brush. And I want to make sure that my colors are set to black and white. To do this instantly, you click on the D for default, and it'll make the colors black and white. If I want to switch the colors from black to white, the shortcut is this button right here, or you can hit the letter X on your keyboard. So white will put it back, but now if I go to black, black will remove it from the mask. So again, a couple things that I'm making sure are happening is that I want to make sure that I am on that background, on that square right there. You can see I'm painting black on it. It's not changing the pattern. The pattern's still there. But what it's doing is it's removing the visibility of it. Okay, so you can see I'm removing way, way too much. Now I'm going to zoom in a bit to a section right over here. And I'm now going to switch over with my brush tool. I'm going to switch over to black, to white. So I hit the X, switches it over to white, make the brush a little smaller, and you can see now what it's doing is it's putting that mask, it's putting back that white on the mask. White reveals it, black takes it away. So if you mess up, if you paint too much, you can hit X, and then you can remove it with the black. Okay. So I do expect you guys to do this very, very carefully. So that's how we're going to start off. Okay. There are going to be a couple of tricks that I'm going to share with you in another video, but this one's good enough to present to get you started. Okay. One last thing before I go off now is, give me a minute, let me zoom back out. So right now I just have it set where this particular layer, I have the opacity set at 40%. I'm going to bring it back up to 100. And then you can really see where some of the areas that I really need to redo. So this is going to help me keep everything really, really nice and crisp and neat. But this isn't giving off the illusion. How you get the illusion is you take this layer, just like how we did with the Splash of Color project, and you change it to overlay. So what you're going to end up seeing is this image where you can start to see the pattern. Now, since this is since this is an image that, or the surface is red, it's really overpowering the colors quite a bit. You can see when I'm putting this pattern back, it's hard to see all those bright colors. And it has to do with, it has less to do with the actual pattern that I'm applying. It has more to do with where the pattern is being placed. Since this is such a bright red, the red is just overpowering. So what I can do, this is just a decision, you might like the way this looks and you would have no problem with having this as a done project, but if you want, you can remove the color, the red, off of this background. To do that, hit Command U, and you can bring down the saturation all the way down. So what that does is it removes all the color from this background image, but what it does is it allows the colors in the pattern to really come through. Now this is just going to be one of those things that you can do depending on the subject, right? So if you have a very colorful pattern, getting rid of the color in the background where this colorful pattern is being placed will really make those colors stand out. Okay, so you can see that looks pretty realistic, and if I continue this process and get that really, really trimmed up really nicely, it's going to have that really realistic effect that this pattern has been printed on the canvas. Okay, so I'm going to start you off with this particular tutorial, and I'll combine it with another tutorial on another day, you know, maybe after the weekend, but this is enough to get you started. Okay, so the next video that I'll show at another time is going to have to do with the backpack. Because the backpack's on an angle, we're going to use some different tools to apply the pattern on there. Okay?